Final news conference of the day. I'd like to remind you, as a courtesy to your fellow media members, as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. And when we get to the question and answer portion of the news conference, please provide your name and affiliation each time that you ask a question. That's for the people watching online and for our transcribers. Recording a press conference video on cell phones is prohibited, please. And we'll address questions in the room first and then take questions if there are any from the Zoom. Of course, Ole Miss is here, 37-22, winning Coral Gables in Hattiesburg last week in the Super. Mike is in his 22nd season at Ole Miss and his 25th overall as his career. Mike, give us an overview first on the Ole Miss Rebs.
Well, yeah, I think most of you know our story, and it's been a great story. It started in early February where we were preseason ranked in the top 5 in the country and got off to a tremendous start and really played well. And by the time we hit mid-March in conference play, we moved up in a few of the polls and some of the polls even high as number 1 in the country for a couple weeks in mid-March when we started conference play. I said it, and it sounds sarcastic, and maybe some of it is and some of it isn't, until we played the University of Tennessee and got beat up, like a lot of people did this year, and kind of hit us, put us in a tailspin. We kind of struggled to figure certain parts out, especially the pitching side of it, and maybe most specifically the starting pitching. As you know, a lot of credit has to go to our captain, Tim Elko, and a lot of the older guys. We have an older team that held it together, and we were at a bad spot at 7-14 in the Southeastern Conference at one point, but they didn't let it go, and continued to fight, continued to play and work and grind, and we put it together at the end of the year. Weren't sure on selection day if we would get in. We felt we were good enough to be in, but you never know. Thankfully, we were in the tournament, and really from that day forward, we've played really well. Went 3-0 down in Coral Gables and 2-0 in Hattiesburg. Pitched it terrific, hit it terrific, fielded it really well. Just played really good baseball over the last few weeks.
Okay, we'll start now for questions for the student athletes only. We'll get to Coach after a while, but we'll start right here. Suzanne and Haley will get a mic to you.
Michael Katz with the Daily Journal. Tim, a couple days ago you said that you grew up watching the College World Series, that this was a really big deal. Stepping on the field today and practicing, just what was that moment like?
It was an amazing moment. I've always dreamed of playing in Omaha, and I finally got here my last year, but just a really cool moment, being out there with all the guys and taking ground balls and just taking it all in. Really cool.
Okay, over here.
Mark Garland, CWS 247. Dylan, it feels like every start you've had the last 4 weeks has felt like a must-win start. How do you come out every game and get ready for those and just hang on to those wins and hold your team up high?
I'd really say just honestly trusting this team. They're going to put runs up. I just have to put as many zeros up as I can, and that's just going to help them out. But it also helps when, like last week, we're up 10-0, and I'm still on the mound. So it just gives me more comfort on the mound, just allows me to just throw the ball in the zone and let them hit it.
Okay, right here.
Dylan, John Sokoloff of WCBI-TV down in Columbus. I mean, your journey for this year from, not starting to emerging as a strong starter and being the backbone of this team for a lot of that stretch late in the year. I mean, what does it kind of feel to see you got your shot, you crushed it, and your hard work is paying off to see your team now in Omaha?
I kind of don't look at it like that. Our pitching has done well so far. I'm just another guy that's on the mound for the team to try to get a win. And then once my time's up, I hand it to the next person, and I know they're going to do their job on the mound.
And Tim, you were talking about how it was always, a goal of yours to come here and that you always loved watching the College World Series, and now to know that you played such an instrumental role in helping your team get here for the kind of the future of the program. What does that kind of mean to you, that it helps kind of pave the way for more potential success for this program and its future?
Well, we've had a lot of really good teams since I've been here, but it just feels like a good accomplishment to get here. But it's not our goal to just get to Omaha. It's to win a national championship, and we're ready to do that and play well. But I think, like you said, it paves the way to show people that are thinking about coming to Ole Miss that we are a really good baseball program, and it makes people want to come here, and why not? We have a great fan base, great facilities, great coaches, and a great culture. So no better team to come to than to Ole Miss.
It's the most Freudian question I've heard. Okay, next question. Back here in the back, Jordan.
Jordan McAlpine from the Omaha World Herald. Tim, obviously you've been a heart and soul guy as part of this team the last few years. You catch that final out to clinch it and send you guys to Omaha. What's going through your head in that moment, and also how much more rewarding of a feeling does it make it for you?
Well, my first thought was, all right, I got to catch this ball. But no, I mean, just a really awesome feeling. It's tough to put into words, but just feeling happy and excited, thankful, blessed, just to be on such an amazing team. We overcame so much, and that made that moment so much better. To be able to get to Omaha and have a chance to win a national championship.
Okay, right here.
Dylan, Jared Running, 24/7 Sports. When you mentioned a second ago the Auburn team who can get hits, what do you remember about that game one outing where you went 3 1/3? And how do you feel like you've kind of changed as a pitcher since then?
The Auburn outing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The Auburn.
Yes.
Just really, I've just gotten more comfortable throwing more innings now, just throwing deep into the games. So, I mean, that's really what I have to say.
Okay, back here in the back.
Joe Menzer, SEC Network. Could you guys both talk? What do you think it was that helped you guys turn it around when you're 7-14?
We just continue to have belief in each other and ourselves, and just knowing that we can go out there and do it at any point. We didn't listen to all the outside noise and let that bring us down. We just stay within ourselves and play together as a team. Didn't point fingers, didn't try to do too much, just really try to keep believing in ourselves and know that we are one of the best teams in the country, and we just got to go out there and play better. So we were able to do that and got on a roll, and now we're here.
Okay, right up here.
Hey, Nick Suss with the Clarion Ledger. Tim, kind of going off of that, we've all heard the story about Coughlin coming and talking to you guys. Did that change your perspective at all? Was that a light bulb moment, or was it just kind of a validation of the way you've approached leading and kind of building this team this year?
I think it was maybe a little bit of both. I think it was just a reminder that, like, hey, it's a tough league, but it's tough to have success if you don't have that conviction and belief in yourselves that you're going to go out and do it. I remember him telling us, you got to have that conviction that you're going to go out and you're going to win. And I think that kind of helped to get the ball rolling and get us kind of back on track with his motivational talk. It sticks in my mind as a big moment, and we thank him for that. But just really proud of how this team took a hold of that and started to play well after that.
Okay, we have a question from Zoom here.
Austin, please go ahead with your question.
Hey, Dylan, Austin Eldridge with the Rebel Walk. You've talked a couple times about being more comfortable in the season. Does playing in a big park like the Chuck make you more comfortable on the mound, or do you even put any stock in that at all?
I kind of really don't think about it. I guess you could say I kind of just don't get really nervous when I'm on the mound. I just dial in, don't really worry about the outside noise, and just try to make pitches.
Jordan?
Dylan, what does Tim mean to your group?
That's a lot of words. He really does. He's literally the backbone of this team. I mean, he's kept us in it. He's come up with some amazing hits, amazing home runs I've watched. I mean, just all around, he's been the guy that's just lifted this team and brought it to the next level.
Okay, do you have any more questions for the student athletes? Well, guys, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. We'll let you two go, and then we'll have questions for Mike.
Thank you.
want to hear what John questions this time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Mike, John Sokoloff with WCBI in Columbus. I saw your post, obviously, about your daughter and that she was going to come to the College World Series this time around in 2014. She wasn't able to. I heard you talk about it the other day, but I mean, how awesome is that for you that she's going to be here, and are the rest of your kids going to be here as well?
Yeah, really cool. You know, really cool moment. And I guess the reason I don't tweet much, you know, about the family or too much about the family, but I thought that was cool just because she was the only one there. You know, in 2014, everybody else was there but her. And the reason they weren't there is, as you know, I have a son that plays for Louisville, and most of them, you know, made the trek to College Station, so they were, you know, on their way back, you know, from a super regional, and a couple of them were working on that day. And so, and then the latter part of your question, they will all get here at some point. Three of them, you know, 3 of the 5 kids, obviously Cammie's here, Catherine's here, Sam and Ben are here. Drew will get in Friday night, and Michael is working, coaching over in Atlanta right now, and will make it early next week.
Okay. You have somebody? Haley? Okay.
Coach Travis Brown with the Bryan College Station Eagle. If I'm not mistaken, I think y'all were one of the 3 finalists to try to get Jack Moss this past season. What was it about his game and him that intrigued y'all?
Ooh. So Jack Moss question at the Ole Miss press conference. He's terrific. I mean, you can see, you know, and I don't think you ever really know. And obviously, you know, Jim, you know, did a terrific job in the portal, you know, once he got the job, because he wasn't the only one that played so well. You know, Jack, you know, had a great series against us, and certainly, you know, saw from afar, you know, what a great finish, you know, and certainly one of the reasons they're in Omaha is, you know, because of the way he played. But you know, I think when you look at the size and you look at the bat control and you look at what type of hitter, you know, you hope that, you know, he'll get to your program and do that. And obviously, it's done that for A&M.
Okay, Jordan.
Jordan McAlpine with the Omaha World Herald. Coach, same question I asked Dylan there. What does Tim Elko mean to your guys' group?
Wow, and it is. I think it's a tough question just because I think he affects the team on a lot of different levels. You know, one, you just look at the production, a guy that's hit in the middle of the lineup for the past, you know, 3+ years, and just set the Ole Miss season home run record at 22, leads the team in RBIs. Great defender at first base. He's a big body guy, but he moves around terrific. He could play the outfield, could play third base. Just happens to be, you know, first base this year, especially coming off the knee surgery. But then off the field, you know, what a tremendous leader, what a tremendous representative of, you know, our institution. Yeah, people say it, and I think they say it kind of tongue in cheek, but he is the face of the program. I think, you know, if you talk to our beat reporters, I mean, today we come to Omaha and there's some ESPN things up a few hours ago and some guys get some questions, and Tim's literally there for an hour and 20 minutes nonstop, and then practice ends and everybody wants a piece of Tim, and that's because, you know, Tim is that guy. He's the face of the program. But academically, he's like a 4.0 student. I mean, he's you hate to say anybody's perfect, but man, he's pretty darn close.
Okay, right here.
Jake Thompson with the Ole Miss Spirit. Mike, we've asked the players, this is all their first time getting here, but for you, what was that moment like, taking it all in yesterday, walking through the tunnel out to the field, just getting back here? What is that like for you?
You know, neat, you know, I guess that's not a great word, I guess, but it was neat. I think it's different, you know, when I think when we got here the first time and, you know, challenged the kids a little bit that, you know, we want to come here and succeed. You know, 14, we won a couple games. We were 2-2 and ended up coming in third. You want to come here and have success. And, you know, so it wasn't anything dramatic for me because I've seen it. You know, when 2014 had been such a long time, you know, since being an assistant coach, and I had never been to, at that point, TD Ameritrade, right? I'd never seen it, you know, necessarily in person. So, you know, that was you know, probably a little different walking into the stadium here. I think I've appreciated, and even back to the super regional, just watching the kids, watching guys, and not just Tim. Tim gets a lot of the pub, but other guys like Bench and Graham and Chofie and guys, that have been on this team, and they've won a ton of games, but they haven't played in the stadium. And so to watch them, walk in it and take pictures, and that's been really cool. Clement made a comment to Tim right after the dog pile, like, can you believe you almost signed? You didn't. You might have not came. Did this, like something to that effect. And it's just really neat, I think, as a coach. To watch, the players, the student athletes achieve these types of things, individually and as a team. And as I started, you've heard the story. This has been a really cool story, up to this point, and to watch them get through all of that, from the very high, the beginning of the season, to about as low as you can get, and to get back here, it's been neat. So to me, the neat is not personal. It's just to watch them and take pictures and appreciate it, and the genuine, happiness and fulfillment, at least to this point.
Okay, right here, Parrish.
Parrish, Alford Daily Journal. Mike, some of the Auburn players were talking about, the older ones talking about their experience here from 2019. Is that significant that their players have some experience in this stadium, in this setting?
I don't know if it's significant. I think it's good. I think one of the challenges, and Coach Bertman used to say, when you get there the first time, there's so much. It's so different than just a regular series. And yeah, you're just playing baseball and all of that, but just look at today, and you're getting in the picture in the front, and an hour plus interviews with the media before, and ESPN, and then a practice, and then you come here to a press conference. This isn't what they normally do, even in a regional or super regional format. And then all the other things that people don't think about, the logistics to get here, the logistics of their families to get here, and trying to find hotels and tickets and all of that. That's why a lot of people in Bertman used to say, in Super Bowls and World Series, those types of things, it's difficult your first time. So I think it's important, that they've been here before, but I don't think it means that you can't win. I mean, there's stories of teams that have been here the first time and have won. So we try to, with our, experience, and to try to make it as structured, so they know when they can kind of take a break and go have a steak with their family, and when they need to lock in and be at a meeting or be at practice, and try to structure their time such that they can do both. They can enjoy it, but they can also, play baseball and come here and have success.
Okay, Mike.
Coach Mike Patterson, Omaha World Herald. Can you tell us who your starter will be Saturday night, and just talk about playing Auburn in that first game?
Dylan DeLucia. And so what was the second part of that question? Go ahead, real quick. Go ahead. You don't need it. Go ahead.
Just talk about playing Auburn.
I've answered a few questions this week back home with our beat writers, about playing a conference opponent. There's obviously a little bit of being familiar with them, and watching some of the video today. Knowing the names, but we're a different team. They're a different team. They had I think a really great year, and about as underrated as a year of any team in our league. I think I'm correct in this, that they won the most games in our league of the teams that played Tennessee, and they won 16 conference games. In obviously a very, very competitive, conference. And so utmost respect for their team. Butch does a tremendous job there, and with Tim Hudson, coach, a Hall of Fame guy, coaching the pitchers, and Gabe Gross, does a tremendous job with the offense. It'll be a big challenge for us, on Saturday.
Okay, here in the back, I can't see.
Jack McGonigal, Mav Radio. So 3 of the 4 teams on your side of the bracket are from the SEC, let alone the SEC West. Is there a different mindset to having two other familiar teams compared to teams that may out of your league, maybe a different plan of attack that they're teams are used to, or not so much?
That's what we've been working on all week. You're just really trying to change it up. We've been bunting a lot in practice and stealing a lot and looking to, no, teasing. You get to this point and you are who you are. The question about playing the conference opponents, you're familiar with them. I think there's an ease of trying to look at scouting reports because not only are you watching video, but you've played it and you've seen a lot of that live. There's probably a little bit of comfort, being comfortable with that. But at the end of the day, like I said, we played Auburn maybe 10 weeks ago, and they're different, and we're different. And we've kind of been to hell and back, and so we obviously are different. But same with Arkansas. They're a team that they were playing really good baseball when we played them up in Fayetteville, and they didn't finish the season particularly strong, but then played great in postseason. And man, they played in two tough venues to get here in Oklahoma State and North Carolina. So. We're all a little bit different, but and so it's going to come down to, like it always does and should, is who plays the best. I think there's too much made up of, and that's why I was teasing. I didn't mean to tease you or hurt your feelings, but it's too much of the scouting reports and all of that. It comes down to which guys pitch better, which guys get the timely hit. That's usually who wins.
Okay, Jared.
Mike, we were talking with Peyton Chatagnier right before y'all left to go to Omaha, and it's talking about when preparing, for a big stage such as this. He talked about visualizing himself having success, making the big at bat, getting the ground ball to get the final out. Is that something that you really challenge your players to do? And if so, what all kind of goes into that?
Visualization.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're I think believers in the mental game. We have a system. We have a peak performance coach, that we contract out and do a program with him in the fall. A guy by the name Brian Kane. He's been, we've used his stuff, since 2009, and just a big believer in it. And part of it is visualization. Part of it is, seeing yourself, succeed. Referred to Coach Burtman, and he's always said it. It happens twice: once in your mind, and then in real life. And in our game, where confidence and belief is so important to not only your individual success, hitting, pitching, fielding, those types of things, where you really don't have a chance if you don't think you can do those skills. But then also from a team side, from the believing that Dylan's going to get him out or Tim's going to get a hit. Those things are transferable. That belief, people feel that. And people feel those, you didn't know it maybe at times, but you can feel the confidence in that other dugout. And so I think it helps that mental side not only helps, from an individual standpoint, as Peyton's saying, but also from a team standpoint as well.
Okay, we have a Zoom question.
All right, let's go back to Austin. Austin, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, Austin Eldridge with the Rebel Walk again. Auburn starting Joseph Gonzalez against you guys on Saturday. I know you didn't face him back in the regular season. Have you guys had a chance to look at him yet? Is that something y'all are going to do a little bit later in the weekend?
I've seen him. I have seen him throughout the season. We're fortunate maybe that he was injured when we played him. We didn't get to face him, but I've seen him. As the head coach for the USA national team, watched him, all year, and as a guy that was high on our list, and a guy that'll be with us this summer. So I know how good he is, and watched probably not every start, but a little bit probably of every start, maybe since he's gotten healthy, there in the end of March.
Okay, back over here. I can't see.
Is this on? Noah Darling, CWS 247. Mike, you talk about Tim Elko, Jacob Gonzalez, Dylan DeLucia. Who are some of the unsung heroes in your locker room?
Wow. I think when you look at you always have those stars and the marquee guys, the Jacob Gonzalez's and Tim Elko's. You can't get here without them. But there's guys that, I don't know, maybe sometimes I think they're stars, but maybe some other people may consider them glue guys. Guys like Justin Bench, that bats at the top of the lineup. doesn't get a lot of fanfare, but man, he gets a ton of hits. Maybe the best defender on our field at just about any position. Great base runner, great leader, great attitude. Another one of those. He's Tim Elko's roommate, so one of them's rubbing off on the other. The other guy is the other roommate, and Kevin Graham. So all three of them, there's a lot of hits, and there's a lot of homers, and there's a lot of wins, in that apartment. And Kevin Graham probably is the most underrated player on that offensive team. Last year, I don't want to use the word snubbed because I don't think that's necessarily true, but wasn't selected on any of the first or second team All SEC, and a guy that hit 350, 15 jacks, hits in the middle of our lineup, in a really good lineup. This is last year. And this year, he got injured fourth week of the season and missed about a month, maybe 4.5 weeks. But as soon as he came back, we injected him into the lineup, probably unfairly, because with the fractured wrist, he wasn't able to hit for that month. So a guy doesn't hit for a month, and you just throw him in the lineup, bat fourth in the SEC, and he did okay. But you could tell he wasn't where he normally is, from timing wise, from strength wise, just rhythm. But once we got about maybe 3 weeks into it, maybe the end of April, he started swinging it like Kevin can, and he can be a difference maker in a lineup. So probably throughout the lineup, those two guys. Another guy nobody talks about again is Kemp Alderman. A tremendous, sophomore year he's had. Didn't play very limited, as a true freshman, and has had a terrific year batting in the 5-hole, basically the whole year for us.
Okay, right here.
Jacob Timmy, Mav Radio. Coach, you had talked about being to hell and back, basically, and just given that you were the last of the at-large teams to be selected in the NCAA tournament, what's kind of the morale of the team altogether now that you are here at the College World Series and you're one step closer to a national championship?
I think we're like everybody. When you talk about morale once you get here, that was weeks ago. It seems like a long time ago. When we were sitting in our dugout club on that Memorial Day morning, hoping to hear our names. When our names were called, I've been there for 21 of those, and 18 times, our name were called. I don't remember of those 18 times ever seeing that type of emotion from our team. Obviously there's been years where, we've been a national seed or a host site and we knew we were getting in. But even the times where maybe it was close or, weren't quite sure, these guys were super excited to hear their names called on Monday. But the morale now, 3 weeks later, that seems like a long time ago. We've played a lot of baseball since that point, and I know they're excited to be here this week, like everybody is.
Okay, any more questions? This will be our last question, Mike.
Mike Patterson, Omaha World Herald. Coach, how surprised were you that Tennessee is not here, and did Notre Dame do everyone a big favor by keeping the Vols home?
I will say this. I've listened to a lot of people make comments. They had one of the greatest years in college baseball. People will try to shy away from that because they're not here. But to that point, I've done this for a long time. I don't know how many teams that I can think of that were that dominant for that many weeks. And really a team that didn't have a flaw. The people try to pick flaws. Well, maybe you can steal a few bases, or when you start saying that's their flaw, they're pretty good. Tremendous rotation, great bullpen. They can really swing it. They can defend it. They play with a ton of confidence, and so on. I say that because I played them, myself, and I've watched them dominate our conference. But the reason they're not here is because this game is really hard, and people sometimes don't understand that the best team doesn't always win. It's the team that plays the best. And in baseball, sometimes you can have a tough weekend, or you can have a tough game in a game 3 and not get here. We know that very well. And so am I surprised in a way that, maybe the best team in the country didn't get here, but not surprised that it happened. It happened a year ago to the University of Arkansas, where they had a tremendous year and had a tough, had a tough weekend, at the wrong time. And so it happens, so you can think it's something else, but it's really baseball. It's really that, sometimes, they get the big hit or they make the big pitch and you end up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. But they were, certainly not just, the best team through the, whatever that is, 16 weeks, but as good a team as I've seen maybe ever.
Mike, thank you. As a reminder, the locker rooms are closed to all media at all times. And if you have any special requests, work with Mitch and the SID office there for any additional requests you might have. And a recording of this press conference will be up on the NCAA Digital Hub shortly, and transcripts are provided by ASAP, and they will be posted shortly. Thank you. Let the games begin. Amen. Yeah.